Chapter 92. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the Chambord Islands, Xia Qi's rip-off bar, one male and one female, the man is an old man, and he is also tasting fine wine. But his identity is unusual, the Pirate King's deputy, Hades Rayleigh. It can be said that this name was famous more than 20 years ago. Similarly, more than 20 years later, if his title and name were used, it would still be enough to shock everyone, because this name has been brewing for more than 20 years, it can be said that it has become a legend. But here he is, drinking wine slowly. Raleigh, your glass of wine is worth 1,000,000 Baileys. And Leigh's old lover, Xia Qi, also teased Raleigh. This is the way they live. Then I'd better sell myself to you. I don't know if my old bones are worth 1,000,000 Baileys. Riley said with a smile, but to say that he is not worth 1,000,000 Baileys is more or less nonsense, but the other party does often have to take pictures of himself because he has no money to buy wine. Oh, that price, if the crew of the Roger Pirates knew about it, they would probably burst out laughing. But Rayleigh, are you really not going to stop them? Killing the Tianlong people, the movement is really big. Moreover, I have received information about the person causing trouble this time, and it seems that he is the man who is Shank's daughter. Even though she has lived peacefully here for decades, her ability in collecting intelligence is still not small at all. Even though she is not as good as the world government, she also found out the murderer during this time. What was the identity of the person who died of the celestial dragon? As soon as she found out, she felt like there was something going on. Shanks had told them about his daughter some time ago. If Shanks hadn't spoken out himself, they would have really unexpectedly, Shanks actually adopted an adopted daughter, and the man that this adopted daughter fell in love with, according to Shanks' description, had already reached the emperor level. Until this incident, Rayleigh and others only thought it was ridiculous, he and Roger had already reached the imperial level at such a young age. Neither he nor Roger were so exaggerated at the time, in this regard, he could only lament that he and others were really old. Killing the celestial dragon, little Shanks, this son-in-law, is really bold. Hearing this, Rayleigh laughed loudly and said. In his heart, because of this incident, he was slightly shocked. He is an old antique from that era, the act of killing the celestial dragon seems to be like this. Only that crazy Lox could do it. I don't know if my old bones can stop them from continuing to fight. If the fight continues, I'm afraid our place of retirement will be gone. Rayleigh also drank the wine in his hand, stood up and said, immediately, he also walked out of Xia Qi's rip-off bar, and his figure gradually moved away. Xia Qi also watched the other party leave. Boom. 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 Who is the most panicked person in the Shampoo Islands right now? The answer must not be pirates, because they have already started to run away one after another. The most panicked, they are residents who live here and open shops here. They were reluctant to part with the savings they had earned through years of hard work, but such a noisy battle undoubtedly frightened them and made them want to run away, but reluctant to give up. All in all, it's very confusing, and in the sky above the Shampoo Islands, Kizaru and Weiwei kept colliding with each other, and every time, some flashes of light burst out from Kizaru's Qingyun sword. For Weiwei, her dragon beast nemesis also flashed with sparks. Fighting, very intense, in just a few seconds, their weapons just collided a dozen times. The power of Gaia. Weiwei threw out another energy pop-up. See this? Kizaru also quickly dodged with photon movement. Boom. A mushroom cloud rose into the air. Fine, this time, the force of Gaia hit only the roots of the mangrove tree, and did not directly blow it off. This was a blessing among misfortunes. Otherwise, nearly 10 mangroves that had been blown down already expressed that they had something to say. I said, if the fight continues like this, there will be no winner anyway. How about we take a break first? Kizaru also said, such a fierce battle is really not suitable for an old man like him. Besides, he was forced to work overtime this time, therefore, facing such an opponent, he really didn't want to fight. He also wanted to wearing these tattered clothes. When I return to the Navy headquarters, I have to go to the Navy's finance department to reimburse the cost of repairing this set of clothes and trousers. Otherwise, for him, this is a big expense. Stop talking nonsense. Come and fight. Wei Wei's words were simple, direct and clear. Without saying a word. She didn't want to talk nonsense to Kizaru at all, so she rushed forward and threw 2 more instant blocking powers. At this moment, Kizaru he felt that he was under great pressure. He finally understood, the other party was basically a fighting maniac. This was a blow to the head, but he didn't want to go to the head. 8-foot Magatama. He was helpless, but he could only fight back, crossed his arms. The light bullets were shot directly in the direction of Wei Wei. Boom. The light bullets smashed into the sea of several broken mangroves that had been interrupted by the battle between them. For a moment, water splashed up, however. Wei Wei's shield of courage blocked his attack again. Seeing this, Kizaru was helpless. The defense against that shield was really ridiculously high. His 8-foot Magatama can't leave any trace on the opponent's shield. How hard it must be. In terms of hardness, Kizaru is willing to call this shield of courage the strongest defense. Gaia. Wei Wei, it's almost done. I have solved the demon-slaying order. Leave the rest to me. A figure also moved quickly on the Shampoo Islands. His figure seemed to appear in several places in the blink of an eye. The next moment, he appeared next to Wei Wei. He held down Wei Wei. Wei's arm, which was about to use the power of Gaia, also said, this time, Wei Wei, who was hit on the head, also calmed down a lot in an instant. All right, Wei Wei said with a hint of disappointment in her tone. She knew, if she disobeys now and behaves randomly, she will suffer disaster in the evening. Seeing this, Kizaru felt slightly relieved. Well done. To read Baoshuang novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. He really doesn't want to fight Wei Wei now. This fighting mania is too crazy and doesn't give him any time to breathe. But, he also noticed what the other party just said. Brother Qingyun, did you just say that you had solved the demon-slaying order? Kizaru asked. After fighting for so long, shouldn't you have guessed it? Qingyun said directly, even if the other party didn't react for a while, but he had been delayed here for such a long time, and he also made moves. He would never believe it if he couldn't feel the breath of battle. Kizaru was silent. He did guess this. Wei Wei held him back. The other party was going to solve the problem of the demon-slaying order. Part of the reason why he has stayed here is because Wei Wei is really strong. It is not easy to break away from Wei Wei's battle, but at the same time, he does not want to see the so-called demon slayer. Order occurs. After all, he is not a hard-blooded person like Akainu. It's not like Qingji who is entangled in a dilemma, struggling, the matter is over, and then still struggling with whether it is a matter of justice. He's the very smooth type. What is the war on top of? It's just a person who is so sophisticated. He, Kizaru, doesn't know much about the ways of the world. Only. He didn't know what the losses on the demon-slaying order side were. But, looking at the other party's appearance, he felt that the casualties of the 10 warships of the demon-slaying order, as well as the navy on the warships, might be far beyond his imagination. The ghost energy of a knife flow is clear. Qingyun turned around and suddenly took action next to Kizaru. Overlord's haki was wrapped around his weapon. At the same time, it was able to temporarily block the perception of Kizaru's haki, which also caused the opponent to react. By the time he arrived, it was already half a beat behind him, and the knife also fell on the other party's body. Poof. Blood spilled from his body and fell into the sea. The photonized Kizaru instantly appeared not far away. He looks quite ugly now. Got hit. If he hadn't entered the elemental form at a very fast speed at the last moment he reacted, he might have been seriously injured on the spot directly under the opponent's sword. What ability! It actually made my knowledge, sex, and domineering energy temporarily lose its effect. The pupils in Kizaru's eyes shrank suddenly. This time was undoubtedly the most dangerous situation he had ever faced. It was just a little bit close. He might even have died directly in the opponent's hands. As expected of a general, his reaction speed is extremely fast, but it's a pity that it's a little short of it. Qingyun also sighed towards Kizaru. However, this result was also within his expectation. After all, the opponent was a naval admiral. It would be ridiculous if he was killed so easily. In among the 3 admirals of the navy, Kizaru's strength can be said to be unfathomable. Rather, the opponent has not shown his true strength at all. If we say, the strength of a Kiji and a Kainu has already reached the level of the Quasi-Yonko is even very likely to have reached the level of the Emperor, so, will Kizaru's strength be inferior? Although Kizaru's usual performance is not so positive, but when it comes to the opponent's strength, Qingyun, I feel that even if the opponent's strength is not as strong as a Kiji and a Kainu, it won't be much weaker, at most a little bit weaker. Really scary young man. No wonder you killed the celestial dragons and still acted fearless. Your strength is definitely not weak among the emperors. Moreover, you have companions with such strength. I don't know if the strength of those companions is as strong as yours. If so, then I have really offended someone. It's really scary. Kizaru started to speak angrily again. Fortunately, he reacted quickly just now, so the wound on his body is not very deep. It can only be regarded as a minor injury. However, he is sure now. What is the approximate level of Qingyun's strength? Therefore, he really doesn't want to fight now. Keep fighting. There is a fighting maniac next to him. An emperor-level maniac takes action against him. If he wants to run away, the probability that the opponent will catch up with him is very small. However, if two emperors attack him or even chase him, one of them can even fly, the possibility that he will basically die will become quite high. Do you want to continue fighting? Kizaru. Qingyun looked at the other party, holding the third generation of ghosts in his hand, and asked. Forget it. This time, I failed the mission. See you next time. Kizaru decisively chose to evacuate. In an instant, he turned into a shining form and ran towards the outside of the Shampoo Islands. Seeing this, Weiwei, Qingyun, and Rayleigh, who just arrived. No. Here we go. Thanks to Night Werewolf for your monthly ticket support. Thank you very much. The flowers from all the pretty boys and girls are so awesome. The author is grateful. Pretty boys and pretty girls are awesome. Chapter 93. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Rayleigh held a knife in his hand and stared blankly at Kizaru, who had gone away and disappeared in the blink of an eye. He fell silent. Did you come here in vain? Little Shank's son-in-law didn't need his help at all. Aside, Weiwei noticed Rayleigh coming over. Are you from the Navy? Great, then let me meet you. Her fighting spirit has not stopped yet. After seeing Rayleigh, she subconsciously regarded Rayleigh as a member of the Navy. After all, they did not know the person who rushed over at this time. They were definitely not companions. He could be an enemy, however, if he didn't have a fighting spirit. Weiwei could also notice through careful observation that Rayleigh did not have any Navy marks on his body. Moreover, this slightly sloppy appearance was completely different from the image of the Navy. It's consistent, but how could she pay attention to this at this time? In an instant, she entered the battle Greymon form. Wait. Only then did Rayleigh notice Weiwei, who was charging towards him and attacking with her claws. He quickly opened his mouth to explain. However, Weiwei's attack speed was even faster. Just one word came out of his mouth. Weiwei's attack was already directed at him. This opportunity to speak was immediately snuffed out by Weiwei. When he quickly raised his weapon and blocked it, the thud was very dull, and the ground composed of several roots of the mangrove tree under his feet also shook violently under this attack. Are all young people these days so impulsive? Rayleigh couldn't help but ask himself. Even among the enemies they encountered back then, there were only a handful of impulsive people like Weiwei. Old man, you are very strong. Weiwei's eyes were shining. Even if it was just a short attack, but he could block her attack so easily, it means that the opponent is at least as strong as Kizaru. Gaia. She also flew up quickly, prepared to give Rayleigh a big energy bomb. But just when she was about to perform it, Qingyun suddenly appeared beside her, then stretched out his hand towards her, buckled and clamped, and Weiwei was captured by Qingyun with one arm. Stop making trouble, this person is not an enemy. Qingyun also said helplessly. In the blink of an eye, Weiwei started fighting with Rayleigh, and he was extremely helpless. Maybe he gave Weiwei the ability crystal of the dragon fruit phantom species to fight the Tyrannosaurus form. Weiwei eats it, which is somewhat unconsidered. Every time the opponent fights, he will enter the upper state slightly, although, for Wei Wei, this state can be said to be an increase, allowing her to get better and better as she fights. Yong, but at the same time, this state also makes it difficult for Wei Wei to calm down. It takes a lot of time to extinguish the boiling fighting spirit. Hearing this, what? This is not an enemy. Wei Wei was startled, and immediately I also gave up the struggle. This time it was very embarrassing. Mr. Riley, I'm very sorry, but my companion's fighting spirit has not yet been extinguished. Qingyun also said to Rayleigh, after all, Rayleigh can be regarded as Shanks's uncle in terms of status, therefore, Yuta is Shanks's daughter, and if you want to count, he seems to be Shanks' son-in-law. As for how he should call Rayleigh, then they should be able to call Rayleigh uncle. I heard Shanks talk about you. He is quite satisfied with you. Your companion has good strength. He has such strength at such a young age. You have really found a good companion. Qingyun, since we are here and you have beaten away the demon-slaying order and the general, you should be fine. Do you want to go to my place for a drink? Layli also put away his weapon and extended an invitation to Qingyun. Then I won't be polite. But I still have a few friends on their way over. Qingyun also nodded and agreed to the other party's invitation. Then just wait, I'm not in a hurry. Riley said with a smile, and they didn't have to wait long. Soon, Nami and others came over. They met. Riley saw this group of girls surrounding Qingyun, and he only felt that Qingyun was a young man. People are really amazing. No wonder Shanks gritted his teeth when he mentioned Qingyun. His feelings were that his daughter had found a man who was more philandering, so he recognized Qingyun based on his strength, but for Qingyun's philandering, well, he obviously doesn't like it, but, this is also little Shanks' trouble, not his trouble. He has already gone through most of his life, so, there is no need for him to struggle with this kind of thing, then. He also led Qingyun and others towards the direction of Xia Qi's rip-off bar. On the way, Qingyun also silently counted his gains this time, the number of his kills was truly astonishing. It can be regarded as a one-time measure, but, even so. If you synthesize it, you can synthesize a lot of very high-level ability crystals, excellent physical crystals *14588, rare physical crystals *1212, excellent physique crystals *672, perfect physique crystals *178, legendary physique crystals *21. Excellent soul crystals *16794. Rare soul crystals *1327, excellent soul crystals *591, perfect soul crystals *156, legendary soul crystals *24, excellent talent crystals *15713, rare talent crystals *1424. Excellent talent crystals *621, perfect talent crystals *181, legendary talent crystals *29. Excellent physical skills crystals *16271, rare physical skills technique crystals *1123, excellent taijutsu crystals *666, perfect taijutsu crystals *144. Legendary taijutsu crystals *20. Excellent kendo crystals *15361, rare kendo crystals *1090, excellent kendo crystals *578, perfect kendo crystal *133, legendary kendo crystal *23. Excellent armed colored hockey crystal *44. Perfect armed colored hockey crystal *32, legendary armed colored hockey crystal *11. Excellent knowledge colored hockey crystal *41, perfect Qingyun color domineering crystal *43, legendary Qingyun color domineering crystal *16. Excellent 6-style shaving crystal *123, perfect 6-style shaving crystal *33, legendary military 6-style shaving crystal *12. Excellent 6-style iron block crystal *113, perfect 6-type iron block crystal *55, legendary 6-type iron block crystal *13. Excellent 6-type erasure crystal *142, perfect 6-type erasure crystal *41, legendary 6-type erasure foot crystal *11. Excellent 6-style finger gun crystal asterisk 128, perfect 6-style finger gun crystal asterisk 38, legendary 6-style finger gun crystal asterisk 13. Excellent 6-style moon step crystal asterisk 131, perfect 6-style moon step crystal asterisk 30, legendary 6-type moon step crystal asterisk 14, excellent 6-type paper painting asterisk 119, perfect 6-type paper painting asterisk 31, legendary 6-type paper painting crystal asterisk 16. Return of the legendary life asterisk 12. This once. To read Baoshuang novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. He harvested a large number of ability crystals. Even Qingyun was a little shocked after seeing the number of ability crystals, synthesize it, not to mention adding a lot of epic level ability crystals to him. But, now they are going to Xia Qi's rip-off bar, of course, it was impossible for him to immediately take out the ability crystals to synthesize them, but this kind of thing, he was not in a hurry either. After all, a large number of ability crystals have been obtained, and when they were walking slowly towards Xia Qi's rip-off bar. The other side, Kizaru's side, it can be said that it is so chic, so, how embarrassed I was when I left. Old man, have you gone begging? Kizaru just returned to the warship. After Jean Mamoru saw Kizaru's appearance, he also said bluntly, hearing this, Kizaru. If he hadn't known that this subordinate's character was like this, he would have definitely given this subordinate a light-speed kick to make him reflect and reflect. But, properly training Jean Mamoru seems to be his task as a boss. He thought so. Jean Taowan felt a chill coming over him, he didn't know why he was acting like this suddenly. He was obviously in great health. Master, where are the criminals? Jean Taomaru asked. Their warship and the warship of the demon-slaying order happened to be in the opposite direction of the Shampoo Islands, so he did not see the scene where Qingyun destroyed the demon-slaying order. What he saw was there were just mushroom clouds rising over the Chambord Islands. Seeing this, he knew how fierce the battle was between Mr. Kizaru and the Chambord Islands. Since the noise of the battle was so loud, then, such a long time has passed, the criminal must have been captured, at least, in Jean Mamoru's mind, Kizaru was one of the 3 generals. How could he not even kill one of the Tianlong people? I can't even take down the criminal, isn't this a joke? The enemy's strength is too strong, I couldn't defeat him. Turn around and go back to Navy headquarters. Regarding the failure of this mission, I will personally report to the Warring States Marshal. Kizaru expressed that he was tired, but he still issued the order that should be issued. After hearing his order, the Navy on the warship immediately turned around and headed towards the Navy headquarters. Old man. Jean Taomaru, if you feel very free, I can train with you. Jean Mamoru seemed to want to say something, but Kizaru interrupted the other party's words uncharacteristically, and then he said to Jean Mamoru in a slightly threatening tone. No need, old man. Jean Mamoru decisively rejected the other party's kindness. He was not stupid, just like Mr. Kizaru. If he really agreed, he might be beaten. Then, the warship also left quickly. He went to the Shampoo Islands, but when he left, Kizaru always felt that he had forgotten something, but after thinking about it carefully, he felt that he had not forgotten anything. So, this feeling was also let him forget about it directly. On the other side of the Shampoo Islands, the 2 Lieutenant Generals Flying Squirrel and Huashishin could be said to be the only 2 Lieutenant Generals to survive Qingyun's attack. They were also seriously injured, but fortunately, they are all experienced experts. Even if they were seriously injured, they still grabbed the broken planks of the warship and swam towards the shore. At the same time, they shouted loudly at those who were lucky enough to survive Qingyun's attack. The remaining naval soldiers shouted loudly with all their strength, asking these naval soldiers to obey their orders, grab the surrounding wooden boards as much as possible, and help some seriously injured comrades who were not seriously injured, and then move towards Shampoo. He swam to the shore of the islands. His order was correct, the naval soldiers followed his orders, for a moment. Among the large number of surviving naval soldiers, the uninjured soldiers helped the injured soldiers to catch them as much as possible. They lived on a floating plank, and then they also took the injured soldier and swam towards the shore of the Xiangbedi, Zhaohao, Islands. Soon after, on the shore of the Xiangbedi Islands, 2 Lieutenant Generals, Flying Squirrel and Huashishan also in a state of serious injury, they came ashore with many other seriously injured naval soldiers who were not dead. They tried their best to rescue the injured naval soldiers. At the same time, they also asked some uninjured naval soldiers to form a team and go to the naval base in the Shampoo Islands to find your colleagues for rescue, medical supplies, and phone bugs. You need to report this matter to your superiors. The explosions in the Shampoo Islands have stopped. Is the battle between General Kizaru and the enemy over? It seems that General Kizaru also defeated the enemy. The Flying Squirrel also noticed the cessation of fighting on the Chambord Islands, and he breathed a sigh of relief. However, he didn't know that Kizaru, who he thought had defeated the enemy, had already acquiesced to the failure of this mission. At the same time, the warships have retreated from the Chambord Islands and headed towards the Navy headquarters. Thank you Wangchuan for your monthly support. Thank you very much. Please explain. The author did not deliberately reduce the number of words regarding this data. The author has reduced it to the limit. Appearance. The number of times is also reduced as much as possible. Just filling in and integrating this data wastes a lot of time for the author. Really, in this time, the author has already coded double the number of words of this data. No kidding, really please dear beauties, please forgive me. You really can't avoid it when necessary, but the author will try to reduce the appearance of this kind of data as much as possible. The author has also seen the flowers submitted by all the beauties and beauties. The author is very grateful, thank you so much. I can only write hard to repay everyone for your continued support. Handicapped. Please forgive me for the slow update. Finally, the update on the first has been paid off. I will continue to pay back, and the author will go further and further on the road of debt. It's getting farther. Chapter 94. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At the same time, Qingyun also followed Lei Li to Xia Qi's rip-off bar store. Welcome. Xia Qi was also smoking and said to Qingyun and others. 4 cups of coffee, and a glass of juice for this little kid. After Qingyun came in, he sat down directly and ordered a cup of coffee for Nami and others. As for Perona, this little kid who is second only to Robin in age but is very childish still went to the side to drink juice. Go ahead. Who is the brat? Hateful. I don't want to drink juice. I am 23 years old and an adult. Bring me a glass of wine. When Perona heard this, she also said angrily. Boss lady, just ignore her and give her a glass of juice. Qingyun didn't care at all about Perona's words, but said directly to Xia Qi. No problem. Xia Qi also responded with a smile. Then, she also set off to prepare for Qingyun and the others. Didn't you say we had 2 drinks? You just drink coffee. Riley said that he brought you here because he planned to have a drink and chat with you, and by the way, see what kind of person this son-in-law in Shanks's mouth is. As a result, the place has arrived, but the other party directly ordered a drink. Coffee, this, is a waste. The other person drinks coffee. Does he drink alcohol? Rayleigh-senpai, I only drink wine occasionally. I usually prefer coffee and juice. Qingyun also said to Lei Li. It's not that he doesn't drink, he just drinks less. Hearing this, Lei Li didn't force it. After all, the other party said so, what else could he say? In terms of seniority, it seems that instead of calling me senior, you want to call me uncle. Lei Li also looked at Qingyun and joked. So, does Senior Rayleigh have any gifts for me? If there are some natural type or animal type devil fruits for me, I wouldn't mind shouting. Qingyun also grinned and said with a smile. His words instantly made Rayleigh speechless. Good guy, he opened his mouth and said the natural type and the fantasy beast species, this kind of devil fruit is 100% the best among devil fruits. It has a price but no market. If you even throw it at the auction, the price can directly go up to more than 3 billion, this is inevitable, because if a natural system is used, just to develop the ability of the devil fruit, it will basically be enough. It can be said that he has firmly entered the general level, 3 to 4 billion Baileys. If you change it to a guard with general level strength, should you change it? This is definitely a change, and it goes without saying about the fantasy beast species. Every kind all phantom beast species have their own special abilities. Of course, forget about Chopper's animal-type human fruit, this is not a phantom beast species at all. In addition to Chopper's common people fruit, other human fruit phantom beast species, one by one, they are all very powerful. In addition, there are some other phantom beast devil fruits, which are also very powerful. If a person with talent eats the phantom beast devil fruit, he will become a general in the future. There are also many, I'm pretty sure, therefore, it's only a few billion Baileys. The phantom beast devil fruit is worth the price. However, Rayleigh definitely can't afford this thing. He is also very depressed about this. Forget it, I just drink alone. Riley also took a bottle of wine, poured it into the glass, and drank it in small sips, but looking at his expression, it was obvious that he was not that happy when drinking. Senior Laylee, I actually wanted to find you after I came to the Chambord Islands, but I didn't expect that you found me first. It really saved me a lot of effort. Qingyun said. He was indeed not lying. From the first half to the second half of the Grand Line, there is a red Earth continent, and there are only two ways to get there. Either dive into the deep sea and pass through the Mermaid Island, or just abandon the ship here, pay a large fee, and take the regular road from the red Earth continent. However, this method is undoubtedly very expensive. Of course, for Qingyun, the second method, even if he can put his ship into the portable space, but does he have to pay? Or pay a large sum of money, just to go to the New World, BBCB, which is really too much consumption. At least, he is not willing to give up. What's more, he has killed several Tianlong people now. How could the world government let him go for such a small amount of money? At least, the possibility of such a thing happening is simply not too small, so, he decided to follow the first method to enter the New World, coating his ship's iron slope, coating, so that he can smoothly enter the Fishman Island. The most important thing is, the coating matter. If your craftsmanship is not good, you may sneak into some place and the membrane will be broken directly, and everyone on the ship will go to see God. So considering safety, looking for Rayleigh is undoubtedly the most reliable, at least, for the sake of in terms of Shanks's face, it's impossible for the other party to trick them. Are you looking for me? However, when Laylee heard Qingyun's words, he also frowned and asked. He now thinks that the boy is a bit dissatisfied. If the other party wants something, it seems that he can make things difficult for this boy. Then, he heard Qingyun's words. The words came out of my mouth. Senior Rayleigh, for the sake of Shanks, give me some face. As a member of the older generation, seeing us younger generations coming, should you help us solve the ship coating problem of our younger generations? As far as our relationship is concerned, let's not talk about money. Talking too much would hurt our feelings. What Qingyun said made Rayleigh almost spit out the drink he just drank. To give Shanks face, I also want to give you face. Co-authored, you are doing it in front of me. 2 layers of buff, and do you know what it means to respect the elderly and love the young? What it means to help you solve problems because you are a junior. I think you have not learned to respect the elders at all. Instead, you love the young. We also need to let others learn, especially the last sentence from Qingyun's mouth. What does it mean not to talk about money? Talking too much hurts feelings. Feelings, in the end, you don't even want to pay for a penny, so you are counting on me. It's free of charge. Laylee was shaking with anger. He was also in his 70s and had already gone through almost 3/4 of his life, but this was the first time he saw a shameless person like Qingyun being so shameless. At this point, you have reached a new level of living. Why don't you ask me to give you some money? Riley gritted his teeth and said bitterly. Is there such a good thing? Senior Laylee, please give me as much as 3 to 5 million Baileys. I'm not greedy for more. Qingyun's eyes also lit up and he said. Cough cough cough. After Rayleigh heard this, he kept coughing. This kid is really shameless. He was so angry that he wanted to slash someone with a knife. However. Just kidding, Rayleigh-senpai. To read exciting novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. Since I'm asking you to help with the coding, let's consider the 30 million Baileys here as the cost of asking you to do the coding. Qingyun also changed his expression, and then took out 30 million yuan of money from his pocket and placed it on the table. He just wanted to be less stiff through such small talk and communication. although he was thick-skinned, however, he would not be able to do this if he asked the other party to do it for him for free, not to mention that he is not without money. And the price of the top-coating craftsman is almost a little lower than this. See this? Lei was also stunned for a moment, apparently because he couldn't react to Qingyun's sudden change. However, with his decades of experience, he quickly understood. No need, just for the sake of little shanks, I will coat your boat for free. Lei also smiled and prepared to coat Qingyun's ship for free. However, at this time, Xia Qi came up with coffee and juice. After giving Perona a glass of juice, she was obviously a little unhappy. She was sulking, but no one paid attention to her. Qingyun and others each had a cup of coffee. Lei, you still owe me a lot of wine money, so let's use this money to offset part of the debt. Xia Qi also picked up the 30 million baileys and said. Facing this scene, Lei also opened his mouth. He wanted to say something, but he also thought of what he had owed to Xia Qi's shop for so many years. It seemed that, over time, the money for drinks was no longer something that 30 million baileys could handle. Then, he turned around and saw Qingyun looking at him with a slightly sympathetic look. It was just for a moment, he could understand. See the sympathy in the other person's eyes. Xia Qi was actually just joking just now. Do you believe it? Ah, yes, yes. Actually, I usually talk about the same thing here. Ah, yes, yes. I'm just giving Xia Qi face, otherwise she wouldn't dare to say anything if I said one. Ah, yes, yes. Lei wanted to defend his position, but Qingyun's answer really broke his heart on the spot, which had experienced great storms. Think of the other person's expression that says everything you said is right, he just knew it, your own explanations are useless, the other party already has what he thinks is the answer in his mind, go ahead and explain, it's just a futile effort. Simply, it would be better not to explain. Therefore, Lei also changed the topic. Kill the Tianlong people, and the trouble you are causing now is really serious. Riley said. How about you explain a few more words? Qingyun asked tentatively. Hearing this, bang. The wine glass in Lei's hand also fell heavily on the table. With a dull sound, he used his arm domineering energy. Otherwise, the wine glass would not be allowed to fall directly on the table at this moment. It cracked open. However, Lei himself said that it was impossible for this kid to be so blind when riding a horse, so the other party was deliberately irritating him. When he thought of this, he really became more and more angry. If it weren't for the incense as for Max's son-in-law, he doesn't want to lose any of his old bones, and he will definitely fight with him. Alright. Let's talk about the dragon people. Qingyun spread his hands and said. Seeing this, Lei suddenly realized, sure enough, the boy in front of him was deliberately irritating him. He suppressed his blood pressure soaring and said. The people of the world government will not give up on killing the celestial dragons, even if you solve a batch of demon-slaying orders, but with the character of the world government, if they can kill you, the second batch, the third batch, or even the fourth batch, they didn't care if they died for it. Riley said. When he heard this, he nodded in agreement. It is indeed the case, with the character of the people in the world government, they do not pay attention to the untouchables at the bottom. Even if it is the large number of deaths of naval soldiers, it will not matter to them. For them, it is just the consumption of tools. There is no difference between consuming more and consuming less. If they are not worried about losing too many people and allowing their world government to control the world, then I will eat as much as the demon-slaying order comes. Qingyun said nonchalantly. The demon-slaying token is just for giving him ability crystals. If there were a few more waves, he would have to wake up laughing even in his dreams. He would have to thank the 5 elders. How about rewards for Xing and others' ability crystals? You better be careful. The world government is not as simple as you think, and the other party is not an idiot. This time Kizaru goes back, he will definitely report your strength. Next time, he will definitely not be so reckless as to use Navy soldiers to fill it. If they want to take action against you, General, as well as a large number of lieutenant generals and major generals will attack you. There are too many people and it will be difficult to resist. If that guy Garp takes action, you'll be asking for trouble. Riley also joked with a smile. It doesn't matter. If they come, I and them will go to heaven. Qingyun said nonchalantly, for him, the stronger the strength, the higher the grade of the ability crystals he obtains. As for the other party's ents to pile up the elephant to death, the prerequisite is that he is an elephant. And he is not an elephant, he is a more powerful existence than an elephant. He is also an existence that the world government cannot really afford to offend. Thank you ordinary people for your monthly support. Thank you very much. The flowers are so powerful. Pretty boys and girls, I want to ask, how many flowers do you have? Thousands of flowers were submitted at once. The author almost knelt down. Chapter 95. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Navy Headquarters, Kizaru's warship has already returned, just parked at the port. Same. After come back, Kizaru also came to Sengoku's office. Now, in Warring States' office, there were roars of warring states. This allowed the Navy passing by, even from a long distance away, to hear some movement. They could only secretly feel sympathy for the person who did not know who was scolded by the Warring States Marshal. Kizaru, are you kidding me? Just retreat when you say retreat? The task was straightforward, just failed. There is also the demon-slaying order. Before you came back from the flying squirrel, the phone bugs had already called, damaging more than 6,000 people in the Navy. Among them, many colonels and major generals were killed in the battle, and 3 lieutenant generals were killed in the battle. You just ran away. Don't you know there are people seriously injured over there waiting for you to come and help? It's just that you can't take down a newcomer from Donghai, and you're still saying that he's too strong. Have you taken advantage of me again? I'm just asking you to work overtime. How can you fishing? Don't you know that this action was ordered by Wulaoxing? The mission failed. What should I tell Wulaoxing? After Warring States looked back, he said to him that the mission this time was a failure. The target was too strong and I withdrew. This made Warring States' blood pressure soar instantly. Then, it hurt Kizaru. Scold, damn it, it's too hateful, it's too much, can I not know what your strength is? Besides, the intelligence shows that if you can defeat a member of CP9, the opponent's strongest strength is at most a lieutenant general, and you are a general. A person with peak strength can't get a target that is just a lieutenant general. Are you kidding me? Marshal of the Warring States period, can you take a closer look at my appearance? Kizaru also said helplessly. He knew it, when he came back, he would be scolded by Sengoku first. After his words fell, Sengoku also took a serious look at Kizaru's appearance. His clothes and pants were still the same as when he went out, but, compared to the almost brand new clothes, pants and general's cloak when he went out, it seemed to be in tatters now. Secondly, there were some bandages on the other party's body. This made him silent for a while. How had he ever been? Look. I have never seen the other party look so embarrassed. On weekdays, after fighting pirates, the clothes on my body are not even wrinkled, but now, that I went on a mission, and I was so embarrassed, those who didn't know thought that Kizaru was going there. Rolling in the mud. What happened? This also made the already furious Warring States calm down a lot, and asked. Problems with the Ministry of Intelligence. Qingyun, who killed the Tianlong people, is not at the general level at all. The opponent is at the emperor level. He can also wrap around the overlord's domineering energy and have magical footwork. When using it, the opponent avoids my perception of the hegemonic color of seeing and hearing. When I reacted, I was a little slower than the opponent, so I was hit by this knife. Kizaru also said seriously, the mission this time is simply not too scary. 2 emperors. Even when leaving, he saw the figure of Pluto Rayleigh. If the other party attacked him together, he was not just slightly injured. Even if he could escape, he would at least have to pay the price of serious injury. What? When Warring States heard this, the words in his mouth also rose. Kizaru, your mission failed, but there is no need to make such an excuse, right? The other party is just a young man of about 20 years old. Can such a young man have the strength of an emperor? Are you kidding me? Sengoku also raised his own doubts, such a young emperor. Do you think I, General Sengoku, am a fool? It's so easy to fool me. Garp, Roger, and Whitebeard were not so exaggerated at the beginning. What do you want to say? The qualifications of young people have already exceeded those of these monsters. Isn't Qingyun the monster among monsters? Marshal of the Warring States period, do you think I would beat myself up like this just to avoid working overtime? Kizaru was helpless, he was telling the truth, can't he believe me? Don't you? Ahem, of course, Porcellino, I still believe you, but this matter is too exaggerated. Sengoku almost said what he was thinking, but fortunately he was smart and covered it up with a cough, but if what Kizaru said is true, then it means that the other party is really powerful. Emperor level. Marshal of the Warring States period, it's not over yet. There are at least 2 Emperor-level warriors in the opponent's team. One is a young woman who ate an unknown animal devil fruit. It is probably a phantom beast species. If she and I continue to fight. If it goes down, the Chambord Islands will disappear. Kizaru also continued to reveal another top combat force in Qingyun's team. Hearing this, Warring States had some doubts about life. Now he only felt that what Kizaru said was really sincere, or was he just saying the other party is fooling him? 2 emperors. If they really have such combat power, the other party will be the next 4 emperors, okay? Marshal of the Warring States period, what I tell you is the truth. If you don't believe it, you can ask Akainu to capture the opponent. Also, there are still a few women in their team who have not taken action. I don't know what their strength is. However, if you really have to take action, remember to be careful. Kizaru said, he didn't want to go there anyway. He went there. He almost lost his life. If he still wanted to go, he would go on strike. He was just a social animal, risking his life for so many Baileys. Is it worth it? He's just a celestial dragon, if he dies, he dies. What does it have to do with Kizaru? I know. Seeing this, Sengoku didn't have anything to say to Kizaru. Looking at the other party's behavior, he knew that if he was asked to work overtime, the other party might ask for sick leave, although he felt that the information reported by Kizaru was ridiculous, but, in his heart, there is still some belief in what the other party said. If what Kizaru said is true, then the intelligence department is eating shit. They didn't even find out such a thing, which made their navy suffer such a loss. More manpower. These people from the intelligence department should be hung directly on the top of the Marine Vondo building at the Navy headquarters for a month. However, what he needs to deal with now is a group of old people like the 5 old stars. When he thought of this, he suddenly became angry. Because of the Tianlong people, the Navy lost nearly 7,000 men. The 7,000 men who stepped on the horse were also a huge loss for the Navy headquarters, especially these naval soldiers who died in the war. He also has to provide pension arrangements, which are huge expenditures of funds. Damn. When I think of this, the Warring States period is filled with rage. Damn it, this time he scolded the 5 old stars and asked for a large amount of money, but he was not called Sengoku, so, here at the Navy headquarters. Sengoku's office made a phone call. Then, there were waves of Sengoku's angry roars and curses. Another on the other hand, half a day passed in the blink of an eye. As for Qingyun and others, the ship was also taken out of the portable space, and the coding issue was handed over to Rayleigh, and they were also arranged by Xia Qi to stay. Until this moment, they can sleep peacefully, at least. To read Baoshuang novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. After the Navy was injured, the other party did not have that ability in a short time, and would not come to them at this time. Their troubles have calmed down a lot. The next day, a new day has arrived. In one night, Qingyun has synthesized a lot of things. He has slightly synthesized some things. Of course, it is not over yet. At the same time, he fed the devil fruits in his hand to some animals, and then killed these animals with devil fruit abilities, and successfully obtained the devil fruit ability crystals. Looking at the 13 devil fruit ability crystals in his hand, he felt that he needed to synthesize it, so, after looking at the 13 devil fruit ability crystals for a long time, he finally took out 2 ability crystals. The legendary animal type fox fruit crystal. The legendary superhuman type energy fruit crystal. These two ability crystals seems to be unrelated, but in fact, it is indeed unrelated. He said nonsense. However, this is only superficial. If it is synthesized with the ability of his golden finger, then, two seemingly unrelated devil fruits. Ability, it seems that he can put together a good synthesis result, but this must really go in the direction he guessed. However, since everything is ready for synthesis, asking for flowers, he will naturally start preparing for synthesis. Just at this moment, dong dong dong. There was a knock on the door. Qingyun, there is an albatross outside who can speak human language looking for you. Nami's voice also rang outside the door. The words fell. I am Morgans, the president of the World Economic News Agency. I am not an albatross. I am just an esper in the form of an albatross who ate the bird fruit. Morgan's slightly annoyed voice also sounded. This also made Qingyun think about it. Yesterday, he seemed to have contacted the World Economic News Agency. He told the other party that there was a big news here, the death of Tianlong people. Photos, high-definition photos, asked the other party to inform his president to come to Xia Qi's rip-off bar in Shampoo Islands to talk to him. However, he never thought of it. It only took one day. How did the other party come here? It's difficult. No. Isn't it possible that the other party was nearby? However, Qingyun did not spend too much time thinking about this issue. Instead, he temporarily put away the two devil fruit ability crystals in his hand that were to be synthesized, and then opened the room. He opened the door and walked out. Outside, Morgans could see excitement on his face. Mr. Qingyun, your behavior is really big news. Morgan said to Qingyun. After he knew the big news, he rushed here with all his strength. He even didn't sleep all night. He exhausted all his connections and came to the Shampoo Islands. Although it was a bit tired, but he was excited when he thought that Qingyun had the photos of the Tianlong people after their death. He had known about the killing of the Tianlong people for some time after it happened yesterday. He also had the Tianlong people beaten. Photo, therefore, today's World Economic News Agency newspaper contains a news article about the world's noble celestial dragon being killed in the Chambord Islands. Although the content can be said to be exaggerated, it is undeniable. The other party is true. I know how to write news. Today's newspaper is really a big seller. However, there are no photos. It is undoubtedly not satisfying. If there are photos of the death of the Tianlong people after they were killed, the newspaper must not be sold out. So said. After he got the news, he rushed over as soon as possible. Money didn't matter, but what he cared about more was the big news. If the photos of the death of the Tianlong people, coupled with the headlines and content that are eye-catching enough, that's really exciting. You want this? Qingyun took out a photo of the Tianlong people after their death, and after letting Morgan see the picture on it, he also said to him. That's right, that's it. Mr. Qingyun, what do you need me to pay before you are willing to give me this photo? Morgan's eyes lit up immediately after seeing this photo. He himself is quite strong, but when he came, he saw the legendary figure at Xia Qi's rip-off bar. After Pluto Rayleigh rested there, he even chatted with the other party for a few words, and then the other party told him Qingyun's location. At the same time, he also knew that Qingyun was considered a descendant of Pluto Rayleigh, therefore, he stopped robbing him directly. Method: to offend a legendary figure for the photos of Tianlong people. This is undoubtedly a very stupid behavior. Therefore, since the other party has contacted him, it means that the other party is here for a purpose, so he should be in need no matter what he pays. He can successfully get the photo of the death of the celestial dragon. Therefore, why should he offend a legendary figure, and this monster who killed the celestial dragon, even defeated the Navy Admiral, and destroyed the demon-slaying order? Thank you Eiffel Gung for your monthly support. Thank you very much. Let me say here that the author who voted for the update is also very grateful, but there is no need to vote for this. Really, the author is already doing his best to update. Pretty boy, you voted, it's not of much use. Wouldn't it be better to keep reading? So the author would like to say to all the pretty boys and girls, don't vote for reminders, and don't give rewards. Please vote for some free flowers and evaluation votes, or if you have extra just give the author a monthly pass. For others who spend money, just give the author a subscription. The author is also here to thank you for your support. It is your subscription that gives the author the motivation to keep writing. Thank you very much. Factory. Chapter 96. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 5 billion belly. Qingyun changed hands and put the photo into his portable space, and then shouted out an astonishing number. At least for now, the bounty money he has redeemed is not that much. However, according to Morgan's World Economic News, the identity of the president of the company, newspapers sold every day. How much profit Qingyun can bring to the other party in a year is not clear, but the number is absolutely amazing. Even some countries do not collect taxes every year like Morgan's. World Economic News Agency earns more. What? Morgan's was also shocked by what Qingyun, the lion, said. This guy in front of him, really treated him like a pig and slaughtered him. He opened his mouth and said 5 billion baileys. I really thought he was a Tianlong. Impossible. It's just a few photos. You want me to give you 5 billion belly? This is impossible. Morgan's also refused categorically. Anyway, if he gave the money to the other party, he would probably be taken advantage of. Morgan's, if you think about it carefully, this thing is a photo of a Draco being killed. Do you really not want it? Adding this photo to your newspaper, and selling out of stock are all basic operations, right? I think these photos are worth 5 billion baileys. At least, in this era, you can't find anyone who dares to kill a celestial dragon, or even take a photo of the celestial dragon's death. Qingyun also didn't pay attention to the other party's fierce reaction. It was normal for the other party to think that the price was outrageous. After all, no matter how rare the photos in the world are, they are not so expensive that they require 5 billion belly to buy them. 3. Whitebeard's bounty is only a little over 5 billion baileys. And Pirate King Roger's bounty is only 5.5 billion baileys. The price you are offering is directly comparable to the person with the highest bounty in the world. Morgan said that if he didn't give it, he wouldn't give it to him even if he killed him, but, having said that, he was still very moved by the photo in Qingyun's hand. Just as the other party said, big news. This is definitely big news. His newspapers can be sold until they are out of stock. 1 billion belly, if it is 1 billion belly, I will pay for it. Morgan's also gritted his teeth and said, this price can be regarded as the price of the most expensive photo in the world. He feels that he is absolutely sincere. Morgan's, I'll give you 1 billion baileys. How about you kill 3 Dracos and take pictures of their deaths for me? Qingyun did not directly negotiate the price with the other party, but said this to Morgan's. Hearing this, Morgan's was speechless. 1 billion bailey asked him to kill 3 Tianlong people, just for 3 photos. How is it possible? At least. In this era when the world is ruled by the world government, no one will become the target of the world government for such a small amount of money. This is purely an act of seeking death. He also heard it. The other party was reminding him in disguise, it's embarrassing to mention this kind of price. How about 1.5 billion belly? Morgan's asked tentatively. The cost of a newspaper is not much, but the price of a newspaper is not too expensive. After deducting the cost and labor costs, what he earns from a newspaper is only a small amount of money. That's all. He mostly makes money by quantity. His World Economic News Service newspaper can be regarded as the #1 in the world. Therefore, selling millions of newspapers is an income of hundreds of millions. But, this world, it's really big. The kingdom of Alabasta alone has a population of about 10 million, not to mention how many other countries there are in the world. There are also some that exist on the sea. The gold content of the world's #1 newspaper office is not just a cover. Even if it is normal, as long as big news comes, it is no problem to sell newspapers worth millions, and there are even many times when they exceed tens of millions. As long as Qingyun is willing to give him the photos of the Tianlong people, he can definitely sell the newspapers. It is possible that the sales volume of a newspaper can directly exceed hundreds of millions. A newspaper can earn 100 baileys, of which 40 baileys is the total cost. He can make a net profit of 60 baileys. If the newspaper can exceed 100 million baileys, he can make a lot of money. More than 6 billion baileys, and even, he felt that it was more than just 6 billion baileys. However, if the price paid was too high, after letting him run around, the money he earned was not as good as usual. This was undoubtedly it makes him choose to give up. 4.9 billion belly. Qingyun lowered the price appropriately. In fact, this thing is a transaction in itself, so at this time, it should be like when discussing business, he is shouting the price, and the other party is bargaining. In short, wait. When it meets the other party's bottom line, the deal can almost be negotiated. Only dropped by 100 million. Mr. Qingyun, you are too stingy. Morgans was very speechless. You showed me some sincerity, the result is good, you really showed such a little bit of sincerity. If the other party hadn't held it in his hand, he wanted it very much. Big news, he will definitely leave. How about a fixed price of 4.5 billion, Qingyun said. 2 billion. I think this price is about the same. After all, it's just a few photos. Morgans also raised his bid, but his words also suppressed the value of the photo in his hand. 4.3 billion. Qingyun continued. 2.2 billion, you know, even if I don't have these photos of you in my newspaper will still sell out. Morgans also raised the price and said. 4 billion. Morgans, tell me, if I sell this photo to other newspapers, will they be able to use this big news to directly overthrow you, the number one in the world? Qingyun also said with confidence, the photos in his hands are equivalent to exclusive news. No one else owns them except him, and there is not only one newspaper agency in the world. If it is with Morgans, if the deal can't be negotiated, he can change the target for the deal at any time. As soon as he said this, Morgan's eyes narrowed. Even if the other party is now in the form of a devil fruit, Qingyun also saw that the other party heard his words. And started to get nervous. 3 billion. Mr. Qingyun, if other newspapers can get the photos in your hands, they may have a lot of hope that they can use this to have a chance to surpass the sales volume of my World Economic News Agency's newspapers. However, I think other newspapers will never be able to afford such a price. You will lose money by working with them. Although Morgans became nervous because of Qingyun's words, he was still experienced in many battles. Regarding this kind of thing, his mentality quickly recovered, and then he also showed his own advantages. Let the other party see. That makes sense. To read exciting novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. 3.8 billion, how about that? Qingyun also smiled, and did not directly agree to the other party. He just slightly lowered the offer of 200 million belly to the other party. However, at this price Morgans was obviously not so satisfied, so, he started again. He continued to talk, at least at this time, if he can cut off a little bit, cutting off a few 100 million more means that he has made hundreds of millions more. In the end, the two talked for a long time. Finally at 1 o'clock in the confrontation between the 2 points, the final price was set, 3.5 billion belly. Morgans will pay 3.5 billion belly to buy the photos related to the Draco from him. This is the photo you want. Qingyun also took out a bunch of photos and handed them to Morgans. Upon seeing this, Morgans was also a little impatient and wanted to take the photos from Qingyun's hands. Aren't you worried that I won't pay you after taking the photos? After he just got the photo, he couldn't help but ask the other party. That's good too. Then I should be able to earn more by then. Qingyun smiled and said. His words also made Morgan stunned for a moment, and soon he understood what the other party meant. If you don't give the money, that I will go directly and snatch all your money. If it is something unknown, or if a famous pirate said such words, he would definitely sneer and not care about the other party's threat. However, the person who said this in front of him was Qingyun, which did not allow him to ignore the other party's threats. After all, the other party destroyed the demon-slaying order and also drove away the Navy Admiral, especially according to the intelligence he had. The princess of the Kingdom of Alabasta named Weiwei next to him was very powerful. He is on par with Kizaru, and even stronger than Kizaru. Offend the other party. In addition, the other party seems to have been put a bounty on his head by the world government. He also killed the celestial dragons who were nobles of the world. The other party is simply a piece of meat. Offend this guy who dares to kill himself and bring down the world government. The other party might just target his newspapers one by one and remove them one by one. Then his losses would be more than 100 million. for these 3.5 billion Baileys, he feels that this is really not worth it. Can you still trust the credibility of me, Morgans? I have accepted this photo, and it will be delivered to you within 3 days for 3.5 billion belly. Morgans grinned and said, in fact, it only took him 1 day to collect the 3.5 billion belly for the other party and successfully send it to the Chambord Islands. But after acquiring this photo, he looked at a few of them that day. Dragon Man looked like he was dying. He felt that this big news was too exciting. He had to put off the money matter for a while. He had to rush out a manuscript first. Next, he wanted this big news to spread throughout the sea. For the sake of this transaction, I suggest that when you choose the title, it is best to choose shock. The world's nobles were treated in such an inhumane manner on the Chambord Islands. Or is it the distortion of human nature or the loss of morality, the Tianlong people actually? Such a title seems to attract more attention and make them have a higher desire to buy. Qingyun also reminded Morgans a little. In his world, this kind of sloganeering has long been vulgar. However, for Morgans, it seems to have opened the door to a new world. This is such a great idea. Mr. Qingyun, how about you join my World Economic News Agency? I am willing to directly arrange the position of vice president for you. Morgans also said excitedly to Qingyun. No, the world is so big, I can walk everywhere. Qingyun declined the other party's invitation. That's really a pity. However, I have to leave beforehand, and I will deliver the money on time. Morgan said something slightly disappointed, and left directly, and after the other party left. 3.5 billion belly. Ah! We are rich. The one who screamed and shouted most excitedly was Nami. With such a large amount of money, she could count her hands until her hands cramped. However, Qingyun is more plain. Money, for him now, it is just a number. But so does he. He quickly returned to the room. He took out the 2 devil fruit ability crystals that he had taken out before. He continued the previous synthesis operation. With a 4.6 movement in his heart, the synthesis began. 2 black demons. The fruit ability crystal bloomed with black brilliance, and then seemed to be attracted by something, and gradually got closer to each other, and finally merged together bit by bit. In the black brilliance, some changes also occurred. A trace of golden light came out. As the synthesis time progressed, the golden light became larger and larger, but for Qingyun, the physical strength he consumed also increased. He had just slept and recovered a lot of physical strength. It also consumed a lot. Finally, as the synthesis was completed, the consumption of his physical strength also stopped, and in his hand, there was a golden ability crystal with a golden light, lying quietly in his hand. Just looking at the color, you can tell that the synthesized is an epic-level devil fruit ability crystal. Qingyun also quickly looked at the golden text introduction on this epic-level ability crystal, the epic Renren fruit phantom beast Uzumaki Naruto form crystal. Thanks to Hungry Lamb for your monthly ticket support. Thank you very much. Pretty boys and pretty girls, I told you that you don't need to reward or vote for updates. As a result, some of you still rewarded me. I don't know what to say about the author. I have said everything that needs to be said. Let me say this for the last time. I won't repeat it again. You don't need to reward or remind me to update. Just give the author a subscription. Then if you think this book is acceptable, please vote for some free flowers and evaluation votes. If you have extra monthly votes, you can vote for this book. Nothing else is necessary. Chapter 97. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Epic Human Fruit Fantasy Beast Uzumaki Naruto Form Crystal, an extremely rare phantom beast devil fruit. After eating, you can obtain the power of Uzumaki Naruto in the Naruto world. The original side effects of the devil fruit have been eliminated, and you can carry out synthesis. After Qingyun read the introduction in the golden finger text, he was really silent and didn't know what to say. This result, it's really crooked to the extreme. He originally held the fox fruit and the energy fruit, and then used Goldfinger's weird synthesis to synthesize a devil fruit in the form of the fox fruit, the phantom beast species 9 llamas. Result, this golden finger doesn't follow the normal routine at all. Fox fruit, synthesized with energy fruits, it can actually synthesize a phantom beast species called Renren fruit. This is really unreasonable. Especially, this composite result, if you originally wanted 9 llamas, this golden finger would be better, as it directly produced a fruit that is the protagonist of the Hokage next door. Uzumaki Naruto's power? Shouldn't this go directly to mythical quality? Qingyun frowned and thought for a moment. He seemed to have thought of something, which made him relax quickly. Uzumaki Naruto's own ability is indeed powerful, but to truly achieve mythical quality, he must at least become like Kagaya Otsutsuki, who truly possesses the full power of the 10 tails and is immortal. They defeated Otsutsuki Kagaya only by the cooperation of several people and sealed it. They seemed to be close to the 6th path, but in fact they were only at the quasi-6th path level and not a true 6th path level powerhouse. He also briefly analyzed it in his mind, therefore, he came to the reason why this result can be synthesized at the epic level after being synthesized, however. Want to eat? Qingyun looked at the epic human fruit phantom beast Uzumaki Naruto form crystal in his hand, and fell into hesitation. If it was Uchiha Madara form 12, he said nothing. He would definitely eat it in one bite. After all, talking in the world of Naruto pretending, when it comes to Uchiha Madara, you can't just give him a thumbs up to praise him, because the ninja dance king is really good at showing off. Who doesn't like a pretentious king? At least, he won't refuse, but Uzumaki Naruto's power, that's a different story. Forget it, let's ask Nami if she wants to eat it. Naruto Uzumaki's power should have various forms, including Sage Mode, 9 Tails Chakra Mode, 9 Llama Mode, 6 Paths Sage Mode, and Heavy Particle Mode. Among these many modes, many can still be used remotely. Means of attack. It should be more suitable for Nami. Qingyun was thinking the same way, and then walked out with the synthesized epic-level Devil Fruit ability crystal. Then, he came to Nami. This is a Devil Fruit ability crystal. Like Vivi, it is also a type of phantom beast. However, this phantom beast has long-range attack methods, which may be more suitable for you. Nami, do you want to take it? Qingyun slowly explained to her the epic-level ability crystal in his hand. However, he felt that he was right. After all, the wind-release spiral shuriken thrown out, or the tailed beast jade, this aren't each of their abilities just long-range attack methods. Xiaoyun said so, then this one belongs to me. Nami also unconditionally believed in Qingyun's words, so, she smiled and picked up the devil fruit power crystal from Qingyun's hand and drank it. This power crystal melted in her mouth. In an instant, it gave Nami the illusion of the Renren fruit. The power of Uzumaki Naruto's form. Soon after, Nami also completely absorbed the knowledge about this devil fruit ability crystal. She finally understood the ability effect of Uzumaki Naruto's form. Is this the power of devil fruit? It's really amazing. After Nami obtained the power of this devil fruit, she also sighed with emotion. If she had obtained this power when the evil dragon came to Cocoa West Village, then, what kind of thing is the evil dragon? With this power of hers, the evil dragon is just a little piece of trash, bake. Nami also tried to use the power of devil fruit, so, she directly entered a state. She was covered and wrapped in golden chakra, the hair on her head also curled up to form 2 horns, and 6 Magatama appeared on her neckline, 9 Tails Chakra Mode. This is just that she has just obtained the Renren fruit illusion after taking the power of the beast Uzumaki Naruto form. He directly used the power of this stage. This is the form of the 9 Tails Chakra Mode. In addition, there are 3 weaker forms, the normal form, the half-tailed beast form, and the Sage Mode form. From now on, this is the 9-tailed Chakra Mode form that I have mastered. There are several more forms in the back, including the 9 Llama Mode, the 9 Llama Sage Mode, the 6 Path Sage Mode, and finally the Heavy Particle Mode. These forms still require me to spend some time to master them before I can display them. This power does have some long-range attack moves. Still suits me very well. Nami herself is very satisfied with this devil fruit ability. At least, after following Qingyun, she also deeply realized the importance of her own strength. Such a powerful devil fruit power can be said to be a substantial improvement. With her strength, how could she not be happy? Hearing this, Yuta and others also congratulated Nami on gaining the devil fruit ability. Later, after Weiwei saw that Nami had gained power, she also wanted to have a fight with Nami. Bump. Nami, why don't you fight? Dachi stared at Nami with some eagerness and said. No, let's go shopping. We finally got to this place, and if we didn't buy some local clothes, our trip would have been in vain. Nami decisively rejected Weiwei's proposal. At least, she is not like Weiwei who seems to like fighting. Since she has money, she cannot spend it. At least here in the Shampoo Islands, they are the first when you come here, you must go shopping and buy some local specialties. You must also browse carefully in the clothing stores here in the Shampoo Islands. Maybe you can see something they like. Then I'll go too. When I sing, I will also need to wear some new clothes. Yuta also wanted to go shopping and buy clothes together. Let me go too. I want to buy some books and read them. Robin said, it was also her first time to come to the Chambord Islands, so there might be some books here that she hadn't read before. Since you have all gone, let me go too. Weiwei thought for a while and said, since we have already gone, we might as well go together. After all, she just likes fighting, but it doesn't mean that she doesn't like dressing up. Then, their eyes also turned on each other. Fell on Qingyun. In an instant, Qingyun understood the meaning in their eyes. To read Baoshuang novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. Give me money. After all, Qingyun's ability is really suitable for storing things. There is no need to worry about being stolen or lost, so, most of the money is placed with Qingyun. When they need money, they only need to tell Qingyun, and Qingyun will give it to them. Okay, seeing this, Qingyun also took out a black suitcase. There are 50 million Baileys in this box. You can take your time and look around. I won't go. He also said to Nami and others. This time, he had too many ability crystals in his hands, therefore, out of consideration, he decided to devote most of his time to synthesizing ability crystals for the time being. The synthesis should be completed earlier. He can also allocate the use of ability crystals earlier. Nami and others went shopping on the Shampoo Islands. As for whether the storm in the Shampoo Islands will affect the opening of the store, Qingyun didn't know. He could only wish Nami and others a happy shopping. Then, he also returned to the room. He began to collect a large number of ability crystals in the 3 grades of fine, rare, and excellent. Each synthesis is dozens or hundreds. The quantity is large, and it consumes a lot of physical strength. However, such synthesis is also very fast, and you can quickly see the synthesis results you want to see. He was caught up in the crazy synthesis of ability crystals. On the other side, he learned from Warring States that the Navy's operation failed. This made Wulooxing and others' anger directly ignited, but before they could speak against the Navy, on the other side, Warring States caught them and squirted them. There is a reason for spraying. First, he complained that the intelligence agencies of the world government were all guys who deserved to be fucked. There were 2 Emperor-level combat forces on the other side's ship. This information was not found out so that the Navy could deal with them. I think your world government is an undercover agent sent by the enemy to deliberately weaken the power of the Navy. Then he went on to accuse many members of the world government of being a bunch of rubbish. They had nothing to do to offend a team with 2 Emperor-level combat powers. He also directly labeled the opponent as a pirate because of the death of a CP9 and the serious injury of another CP9. Originally, he wanted to recruit the other party to join the Navy, but now the Navy directly lost 2 Emperor-level combat capabilities. These world governments should be punished for their reckless behavior. Finally, he also complained that since the world government is so awesome, why not just send people from the world government to the New World to eradicate all the 4 emperors? Sentence: the spray made Wulooxing speechless. At last, one by one, some of them hit the ground heavily with their weapons, some patted the tables and chairs with their 620 hands, and some clenched their fists to express their emotional instability. Damn the Warring States period. Without exception, they all said this sentence: who is the superior and who is the subordinate? Believe it or not, we will directly remove you from the position of Navy Marshal. Certainly, regarding the behavior of the Warring States period, they were angry, but if they were asked to remove the other party from the position of Marshal, they would not do it themselves. the other party has too many connections around him. If you really want a random reason, you can directly remove the other party from the position of Navy Marshal. I'm afraid that all the navies who are not holding general-level positions in the Navy headquarters will be fried. After all, you, the 5 old stars, can just throw out a random reason and directly remove you from the post of Navy Admiral, then one day, can we be dismissed from our positions for any reason? Therefore, they will never sit back and watch this happen. What's more, the connections he has cultivated over the years in the Warring States period, as well as his comrades with whom he has a close relationship are all here. Move the whole body. Wulaoxing is not that stupid yet. 2 emperors, I think there is no need for the Warring States period to deceive us on this point. It's better to have someone check it first. If the opponent really has 2 powerful men with emperor-level strength, then the demon-slaying order is completely unnecessary. In front of the emperor level, no matter how many naval soldiers are sent over, it is just an act of seeking death. We still need the Navy to help us stabilize order. Try to reduce the number of actions in which a large number of naval forces are sacrificed. Otherwise, some franchised countries may be beyond our control. Saint Wucheli also spoke slowly. Can. Agree. Agree. So let's do it. Several other 5 old stars also agreed one after another. Soon, their orders were issued. The World Government Organization also quietly took action. On the other side, they were concentrating on writing. Morgans, who was a child, finally wrote a fascinating manuscript after a period of time, coupled with the photos he paid a lot of money to get this time, the sales of his newspapers are still exploding. Thanks to Z18686 for your monthly ticket support. Thank you very much. The nickname has spaces again. You handsome boy, this is all the author can do to thank you. Chapter 98. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The next day, all the factories under the control of the World Economic News Service are running dry and smoking. After all, so many newspapers were printed in one day. Thanks to the dozens of factories under Morgan's control all over the world, millions of newspapers were printed out in just one night. It hasn't even stopped yet, he knows it very well. The big news this time will definitely make the newspaper sell out. Then, only half a day has passed. President, we have sold 12 million newspapers so far, and some suppliers are unable to supply them. Morgan's men also quickly reported the situation of this sale. What? Hurry up and get to work. Don't let the machine stop. Let the employees work overtime in the past few days. Their wages this month will be increased by 50% on the original basis. Morgan's face was also very excited and he said quickly, it's just some wages from employees, it's nothing to him. In just half a day, more than 10 million copies of newspapers were sold. If given some more time, there would be no problem with the newspaper sales exceeding 100 million this time. When he thought of this, Morgans became a little excited. This time, he didn't just create a big news came, it also made a lot of money for itself. At the same time, all over the world were shocked by the big news published by Morgans this time. After all, this time the newspaper was more than just a headline. He also carefully selected the most eye-catching photos among the photos. Of the death of the celestial dragons, it is undeniable that this photo really shocked people all over the world. The celestial dragons were really killed. This also made people all over the world realize that the celestial dragons do not seem to be so scary, especially. The content in the newspaper was also written, about the Admiral and the demon-slaying order that the world government asked the Navy to send, but the result was it suffered heavy damage and ultimately returned without success. The culprit was that he was still on the Chambord Islands and interviewed in person. The other party didn't care at all about the world government's attitude. This made the whole world extremely excited. When the gods begin to bleed, the mortals' desire to kill gods will begin to ignite, especially this time. This descendant of the god is not just bleeding, it is death. This makes everyone understand, the descendant of the god. So what, when they die, they are not the same as them, these descendants of gods are no different from them, the other party will bleed and die. In some countries that are in civil strife, the rebels who refuse to accept the exploitation of the nobles, in this under the news, it can be said that the endless fighting spirit has been ignited, the world's nobles will die. So what do you group of nobles mean? We all have two shoulders and one head, no one is nobler than the other. The most important thing is, Qingyun, the chief culprit who killed the celestial dragons, remained unharmed in the face of the wrath of the world government, and even showed disdain for the world government. This undoubtedly brought them endless confidence. New World, Whitebeard Sea on the Ship of Thieves. Goo la 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 la. These stupid pigs from Tianlong were actually killed. This young man named Qingyun really did a great job at what he did. Whitebeard also said, he expressed 100% agreement with what Qingyun did. What kind of descendants of gods, what kind of world nobles, Whitebeard, has always dismissed these things. However, he would have no problem killing a celestial dragon for fun. After all, the world government's revenge is always there, but he has a lot of sons, so unless the celestial dragon hurts his precious sons, he will not. It is easy to take action against the celestial dragons. It can be said that I hate you blatantly, but out of consideration, I will not provoke you. It can be regarded as a matter of course. However, if his son gets into trouble because of the celestial dragons, he is not allowed to kill him directly. How many celestial dragons sacrificed to heaven? Are you brave? Whoever touches his son will touch his ancestral grave. It's that simple. Marco, bring me some wine and let me have 2 drinks. Whitebeard shouted happily to Marco. Dad, you're not in good health, so you'd better stop drinking. Marco also came out of the huge shock caused by the big news in the newspaper. Then he heard what his father said, and he said very helplessly at that moment. He is not in good health and needs to be put on the bottle. Okay, drink again. Don't kill yourself. Jaws, go and get it. Seeing this, Whitebeard seemed to realize that Marco might not be able to get wine here. He immediately changed the target of begging for wine. Dad, me. Xiaozi opened his mouth, wanting to refuse. Xiaozi, you are my precious son, why don't you let Daddy take a sip of wine? Whitebeard said quickly. Hearing this, Xiaozi was moved by Whitebeard as usual. Finally, he went to get a barrel of wine. Others saw this scene, they were helpless, but they did not stop it. After all, it's not the first time that Xiaozi was deceived by his father into getting a drink every time. It's just that, how many people on this boat don't know how to drink? There are very few. Therefore, they know the pain of quitting drinking, so when the time comes, they will accommodate Whitebeard's father and let him drink a little, but only a little for a while. After all, they still know their father's physical condition. Knew the world, this side of the red-haired pirates. Shanks, Yuta's man is really amazing. Just forget about being offered a bounty by the world government some time ago. Now the other party actually attacks the Tianlong people directly. It's really crazy. Although the generals and the demon-slaying order can't do anything to him, the world government has been keeping an eye on him, wondering what might happen. Do you need our help? Beckman was also holding a cigarette in his mouth and carefully read the newspaper he bought from Newsbird for 100 belly. After reading it, he felt very emotional in his heart. To sum it up in one word, awesome. He unexpectedly, that kid just refused to give Shanks face time and time again. Unexpectedly, the other party may have offended the world government for some special reasons, so he changed his identity as a bounty hunter. They were detained as pirates, so the other party directly launched a retaliatory action against the world government. As soon as they took action, they killed the Tianlong people, a fierce batch, but they were more worried about Yuta's comfort. After all, Yuta is on Qingyun's boat. No need. This bastard said he would take good care of Yuta. The red-haired man also waved his hand and said, "This is a man's promise." To read Baoshuang novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. Therefore, he believes that the other party can do it. You guys, let's have a banquet for this bastard who beat up the celestial dragons. The red-haired man also shouted loudly to his crew. In a moment, the red-haired pirate group's banquet party began. Seeing this, Beckman also shook his head and had no idea of continuing. If it is true something is going to happen, Shanks will naturally be the first to rush over to help Bigmom pirates. Well. What a strong man. I want him to be my new husband. Qingyun also didn't know that Charlotte Lingling, who had read the newspaper, actually fell in love with him directly after seeing his photo, and planned to make him his new husband. If he knew about it, Qingyun would probably run away overnight. Kaido, pirates. Wa gurgle gurgle. This kid is really a little bold. Kaido said with a laugh while drinking wine after reading the big news in the newspaper, the kingdom of Dressrosa. Fu. Is it him? He was able to solve the demon-slaying order, kill many lieutenant generals, and defeat the generals. He really shouldn't underestimate the opponent. Doflamingo also looked at Qingyun's photo in the newspaper and said, in just one day, the whole world knew about a man who dared to directly kill the descendant of God, Qingyun. And their man's title, God Killer. A person who wields a knife against the descendants of gods and even kills the most serious gods in the world. There are also countless people who regard Qingyun as an idol. Without Qingyun's knowledge, the whole world, I don't know that there are how many people have become his fans. Of course, there are also many kings and nobles in some countries that are part of the world government. They scolded Qingyun of the celestial dragon who committed such crimes and even killed the world nobles. At the same time, they felt even more sad in their hearts. Pray, the world government had better take down such villains as soon as possible. It would be best to execute them among them. 3 days, Qingyun sighed. I also received the money for the photos sent from Morgans, 3.5 billion Baileys. Seeing the money, Nami's eyes immediately lit up. I don't even care about counting the money with my hands until when I want to count it, just where I am counting it. Fortunately, Nami's physique has reached the imperial level. Otherwise, just these 3.5 billion belly banknotes, it would make her hands cramp from counting them. This, Qingyun didn't care much, but he found out later. Nami literally counted the hours. It was confirmed that it was 3.5 billion belly, not a penny less. To this, he was very speechless. But Nami is happy. He didn't say anything. Only, he had a new understanding of Nami's obsession with money. And in these few days, as a top coding craftsman, Layli also successfully completed the coding work on their ships. It was worth noting that he paid a large sum of money. But, during the 3 days he was in the Shampoo Islands, the world government didn't even bother him. Of course, this cannot be regarded as the world government suffering this hidden loss and then forgetting about it, but the other party just stopped temporarily. Thousands of naval elite were lost. Whether it is for the navy or the world government, it is a huge loss, enough to make them feel distressed. Especially for 5 old guys in that position, what they care about most is the stability of this sea. So when the time is right, they will also choose to swallow their anger, hide in the dark, wait until the time is almost right. The world government might suddenly deal him a fatal blow. Certainly, that premise is, the other party must really have the ability to deliver a fatal blow to him. 3 days. Mo Zhao thought he didn't live in vain. Now, Yuta had already used the black sword Qiu Shui, so he used the recovered good sword as a material and fed it to the 3rd generation of Gitaru. Still missing 4 good sharp knives. The 3rd generation of Ghost can be promoted from the level of a good sword to a big sword, and beyond that, that is the ability crystal. It's not in vain that he spent 3 days processing and adding more points. Continuously synthesize ability crystals. To the end, he finally completed the synthesis of all the ability crystals. In his hands, an ability crystal of mythical quality was born, mythical talent crystal. This is the only mythical grade ability crystal. There is no doubt about it. As long as he eats this ability crystal, his talent will directly surpass the Emperor level and reach above the Emperor level. This talent. He felt that the protagonist would definitely not be able to catch up with him. Then, Qingyun also took out this mythical talent crystal. The surface of the crystal showed colorful colors and looked very beautiful. After taking it out, he did not hesitate to throw this mythical talent crystal into his mouth and eat it. Go down, melts in your mouth. Next moment, his vision lost focus, his spirit received an unparalleled sublimation. This left him unable to describe the negative in words. This is a feeling that no previous improvement could bring. Shortly after, this feeling also gradually disappeared. Qingyun also went through the process of upgrading his imperial talent to mythical talent. He also looked at his talents. True God, thank you 18258. For your monthly ticket support. Thank you very much. The update will be completed on the 2nd of this month. Chapter 100. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 10,000 meters under the sea beneath the holy land of Mary Joa, mythical sky, finally came to this place, Fishman Island. This place, like Sky Island, requires entry inspection for outsiders, otherwise, you will be arrested by the Navy King's Army of Ryugu Kingdom, and here, there is also a port specifically for them to enter. Of course, Qingyun had no intention of violently entering the country, and he was well prepared to accept the review. After all, it was Fishman Island, and this place was also very strange, so when he came here, he would not buy some things, the specialties here. I am embarrassed to say that I have been to Fishman Island, however, when the people at the port saw his face, they were so frightened that they turned pale. Those who didn't know thought he had done something to the staff of the mermaid tribe. Ching. Lord Qingyun, please come this way. King Neptune has already given orders. If you show up on Fishman Island, the best accommodation here will be arranged for you. You can do it at any time. Check in. Yes, no, do you need me to arrange it for you? That the staff of the mermaid clan were also so frightened that they stammered a little. Obviously, she knew Qingyun, but it was normal. The fact that Qingyun killed the Tianlong people was really shocking to the world, especially, it was reported in the newspapers after so many days. Fermentation, I dare not say that it is 100% in the world, but at least more than 60% of the population remember Qingyun's handsome face and remember that Qingyun killed the Tianlong people and was attacked, the existence that is still running around after the world government's revenge. Then help me arrange it. Hearing this, Qingyun did not refuse such a good intention. After all, this can be regarded as a good intention from King Neptune. After all, he also has such a little bit of fame. After the other party knew about his arrival, he arranged some special treatment for him. This what's wrong? After all, it was the other party's good intention. If he rejected the other party's good intention, it would be more like he was not giving the other party face, so, he accepted the other party's good intention. Lord Qingyun, please come this way. This merman lady also calmed down the fright in her heart a lot in front of Qingyun's gentle attitude, which at least allowed her to speak much more fluently when facing Qingyun. She would not be frightened. His face was pale, his whole body was shaking, and he was stammering. Hearing this, Qingyun also took the mythical sky into his personal space. Let's go. He then said to Miss Mermaid. Regarding this, Miss Mermaid was shocked for a moment, but the other party was the God-slayer who killed the celestial dragons. It seemed reasonable to have some special abilities. It seemed special, it seemed. Such a special thing seems normal for Qingyun. Then, the mermaid lady also communicated with other staff members, and then led the 6 of them towards the Fishman Island, and on the other side, Dragon Palace City. Neptune also received the news from the port staff immediately. That person came to Fishman Island just as Jinbi said. He was also shocked. 2 days ago, when the World Economic News Agency's newspapers began to be sold all over the world, their Fishman Island naturally had people arranged by the other party to sell the World Economic News Agency's newspapers here, so the Tianlong people were the news of the killing spread throughout the entire Fishman Island immediately. This news was not too exciting, so 90% of the fish people and mermaids on the Fishman Island knew the news. And after that, the king is now Jinbei, one of the Shichibukai, came to him immediately. After all, Jinbei had been one of the soldiers of the Sea King army 16 years ago. He had done a lot to protect Fishman Island over the years. Contribution. Because of this, after reading the newspaper, how could the other party not see that Qingyun, who killed the Tianlong people in the Shampoo Islands, would be the next stop at Fishman Island? So, he rushed over as soon as possible. Discussed this matter with King Neptune and finally decided to give the other party top VIP treatment. Fishman Island is now protected by the Whitebeard pirates, which also made it almost impossible for the great pirate era started by Roger. The occupied Fishman Island has restored its previous peace, but that doesn't mean that Whitebeard can stop everyone from being interested in Fishman Island. You know, the price of a beauty from the mermaid clan is simply a sky-high price. Who wouldn't choose to take a desperate risk in the face of such a huge benefit? But at least with Whitebeard's words, 99% of them have given up on this idea. After all, no one would want to offend someone. Unless the Whitebeard pirates are really tired of living, only a few people can experience this kind of treatment. But for Neptune, he is not a fool. For him, everything he has given, it was just a gamble. He didn't know the character of Qingyun who killed the celestial dragon. He didn't know whether the other party would be so arrogant that the celestial dragon was fooled, and he didn't care about the reputation of Whitebeard, one of the 4 emperors. Attack them on Fishman Island. But for Neptune, it is undoubtedly worth the gamble. If the other party is a bad person, then it is worth paying some money to prevent the other party from causing trouble in Fishman Island. And if the other party is a good person, then it is worth it if he can make good friends with him. After all, he can destroy the demon-slaying order, defeat the admiral, and create the reputation of a god-killer. Such a strong man. If he can make friends. There are only advantages and no big disadvantages. So. He also rode on his little donkey, no, it was a mountain pet, a whale wearing a crown, and left with his own hands, the royal palace, heading towards Euphilia Villa. This was the residence he had arranged for the other party early on. This place, it is the most exclusive location on Fishman Island. Let the other person live here, it is undoubtedly a very high treatment. He was going to meet Qingyun in person. At least he wanted to see what kind of person this person who directly killed the Tianlong people was. If the other person is not a bad person, he might consider inviting the other party to Dragon Palace City as a guest. No doubt about it, it also shows how much you welcome the other person. Only, if the other party is a bad person, he only needs to be polite to the other party and say that I, Nipton, will pay for all the expenses in the audience, so that the other party will not be suspicious. Fish Beverly Hills, Qingyun and others also moved directly into the luxurious residence here without paying a cent. Did your King Neptune really say that all our consumption this time will be borne by him? After checking in, Nami asked the mermaid lady who brought them here angrily. There is nothing more exciting than free, at least, she will not refuse such a good thing. Of course, King Neptune has already given instructions. If Lord Qingyun and others see something they like, they can just take it away, and King Neptune will pay for it in the end. The mermaid lady also gave Nami and the others a positive answer in a pleasant voice. This made Nami's eyes immediately light up. Such a good thing is already in front of her. Wait until she can't find out what happened on the Fishman Island. Everything you like will be put into your pocket directly. Yuta, Weiwei, Robin, let's go shopping together. I think I still lack a lot of cosmetics and beautiful clothes. At this time, Nami did not forget her good friends who were shopping together. After hearing this, Yuta and others also responded one after another. Shopping is such a good thing, how could they refuse? Have you forgotten me? Perona said, this is just shopping. It's okay if you don't call her on weekdays. After all, she is just a maid and has no money. She probably won't be able to afford it. As for asking Nami and others to pay for her, buying cosmetics and clothing, this is undoubtedly something that her slightly arrogant character cannot accept, but this time is different. This time all the purchases are paid for by King Neptune. Read Baoshuang novels, just go to Faloo Novel Network. If she doesn't go, her clothes will probably be washed to pieces. Well, since you have done well during this period, I will take you with me. Nami glanced at Perona and said, anyway, she doesn't have to pay. Letting the other party go does not seem to have any impact on them. Perona has worked hard enough as a maid during this time, let the other party go. If the other party buys some cosmetics and clothing, consider it as a reward for the other party. You can just take them shopping. Qingyun also said to Miss Mermaid. But what about you, sir? Do you need me to arrange a staff member for you? In this way, if you have anything, you can tell the staff directly and we will come as soon as possible to serve you. Miss Mermaid also considered the problems after she left, and quickly said to Qingyun. No need, didn't you notify Neptune? He should come to me soon. Qingyun said bluntly. This made Ms. Mermaid's heart skip a beat. She was worried that this kind of private behavior without telling Qingyun would make the other party angry. However, her worries were obviously unnecessary. Qingyun was not worried about this. It's such a trivial matter to argue with the other party, not to mention that the person who arranged it for them was Neptune. Isn't it reasonable for the other party to notify their king of their arrival? Don't worry, I don't mean to blame you. Just do as I say and take Nami and the others shopping. Qingyun also looked at Miss Mermaid flatly and said. I see. Ms. Mermaid also understood instantly. Mrs. Nami, Mrs. Yuta, Mrs. Vivi, Mrs. Robin, and Mrs. Perona, please follow me this way. Next, I will be your tour guide. Go to Marin Shopping Center, where we are the largest shopping street on Fishman Island. It can be said that all kinds of products on Fishman Island can be purchased there. Miss Mermaid also said respectfully to Nami and others. Hearing this, Yuta's cheeks turned slightly red among them. After all, her relationship with Qingyun is still at the last step. As for Robin, aged, she has seen too much of the world. To say she is shy, she is just a little bit shy at most, but she is completely able to keep her happiness to herself, so no one can see the joy in her heart. At least in Shampoo, when they were on the Earth Islands, Qingyun destroyed the demon-slaying order, which could be regarded as directly cutting off the nightmare in her heart, allowing her to slowly walk out of this nightmare. Nami and Weiwei didn't care even more. After all, they are indeed the women of Qingyun, and the other party is absolutely right to call them both. Only Perona, after hearing this, her face turned red. The other party actually regarded her as a maid. Qingyun's wife, but it is undeniable, Qingyun's charm is indeed full. At first, she was forced to take her to the ship to work as a maid, and also made various threats to her. This was also the reason why she didn't like Qingyun at first, but now the situation has changed. Ever since she watched the scene where Qingyun easily destroyed the demon-slaying order from beginning to end, she was indeed fascinated by Qingyun, such a charming and temperamental man. There are few women in the world who can refuse. Come on, although she hated her at first, but now, he has secretly liked Qingyun in his heart, so, when he heard the mermaid lady called her, he seemed to blush and was very shy. It looked like that, but her heart was extremely excited. If it weren't for the point of shame, she really wanted the other party to continue to call her like this a few more times. Then, the mermaid lady also took Nami and others to the Fishman. The Marin Shopping Center in the southwest of the island is going to make a big purchase. Qingyun stayed here. He waited some time. Neptune also arrived with his Marine Corps. Except for him, also arriving with him was Kaixia Jinbei, one of the King's 7 martial arts. After they saw each other, they were both a little surprised that they arrived here at the same time. King Neptune, please. Jinbei also took a step back and gave up his position. Let the other party pass first. Jinbei, let's go together. Neptune is not a pretentious person or a person who pays attention to superficial image. He also pulled Jinbei and walked into the fish-free hills together. Thank you Shang for your monthly ticket support. Thank you very much. Chapter 100, Dear Beauties, why don't you give free flowers to the author to celebrate? 10. Chapter 101. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Please come in. Neptune and Jinbei had just arrived. When they were about to knock on the door, they heard what Qingyun said in the room. The other party seemed to have seen their arrival. Seeing this, Jinbei, please. After Jinbei and Neptune looked at each other, Jinbei opened the door, and Neptune was really too big. If he wanted to squeeze in, he was afraid that the wall would crack directly, so he went in. Jinbei was the only one. Jinbei knew what Neptune's request to him meant, after all, a being who directly killed the celestial dragon. If the other party was unscrupulous, it would be a disaster for Fishman Island. After entering, he also met Qingyun. He was very young. So young that if he hadn't seen the other person's photos, otherwise he wouldn't have believed that such a pretty boy, who seemed to have perfected his looks enough to eat soft rice, turned out to be a ruthless person who attacks the Tianlong people directly. Your Excellency Qingyun, I am Jinping. After hearing about your arrival, I came to visit you personally. But he didn't despise the other party because of his appearance. He showed all his etiquette. At least the other party was really well prepared. It can be said that he gave Qingyun enough respect. Sit down. Do you, in such a big formation, want something from me? Qingyun sat on the chair, leaned back, looked at Jinbei calmly, and said. Hearing this, Jinbei also sat on the chair opposite Qingyun and sat down. Lord Qingyun, you may have misunderstood. We don't ask for anything. As long as Lord Qingyun and your friends have fun. 6:30. Jinbei said. Only when he formally met the other person face to face did he feel the temperament of the other person. This temperament was even far better than when he faced the old man with white beard. This made him feel that the old man with white beard was counting. The strong temperament that he has gained over the past 10 years seems to be slightly inferior in front of this young man in front of him. My partner and I are very satisfied with your arrangement. Qingyun looked at each other calmly and said. Lord Qingyun, as long as you are satisfied. In fact, King Neptune and I came here because we learned about your arrival, Lord Qingyun, so we came here specifically to visit. Jinbei said, at this time, the Whitebeard pirates are still there, not to mention that even if Whitebeard is not in good health, but with the current situation, if a balance is maintained, Fishman Island can completely remain calm under such a wave trend. After 10 years, however, how could they focus on the peace in front of them and ignore the future? It is undeniable that Qingyun killed the Tianlong people. It can be said that he is wanted by the world government, and he can be called the world's leader. The government's top bounty target, recently, Qingyun's bounty came out directly, 10 billion baileys. This is the price paid by the Tianlong people. It doesn't matter life or death, as long as Qingyun dies, you can get this bounty, but not many an individual would be stupid enough to provoke Qingyun. After all, under the demon-slaying order, there was also a general who defeated the demon-slaying order and even repelled the general. This is enough to illustrate Qingyun's strength, such strength. There are very few people who can attack Qingyun, and among them, most of these strong men have gone to be pirates, or they have gone to be the boss of the revolutionary army. Therefore, unless there are a few stupid people who don't know the heights of the world, apart from Tu Qing, there are not many people who would come to Qingyun to die specifically for this bounty, at least. The Whitebeard pirates, the Kaido pirates, the Bigmum pirates, or the Red-Haired Sea. The thieves. It is impossible for these 4 emperors to obey the orders of the world government and attack Qingyun, therefore. Qingyun's only crisis now comes from the world government, and Jinbei also considered this aspect, and finally and after deliberation for a long time, Neptune chose to get close to Qingyun. Of course, if such behavior was known to the people of the world government, their Fishman Island would really be targeted by the world government. However, after so many years, they have been protected. What belongs to Fishman Island is not the world government, but the reputation of Whitebeard. When Fishman Island encountered a wave of big pirates, the world government stood by as a bystander and never took action. Therefore, this kind of duel is not difficult for them. However, even if there is such an intention, it cannot be stated directly. After all, it is only the first time they have met. Jinbei's idea is to get closer to each other first, and then blurt it out when the time is right. However, Qingyun is a relatively direct person. Want to make friends with me? I am the great sinner who killed the celestial dragons. If you befriend me, will you be targeted by the world government? Aren't you afraid of the world government's deliberate targeting? Or do you think I am a better than the world government? Qingyun looked at Jinbei calmly, and what he said made Jinbei's heart beat hard. Direct, too direct. He didn't expect that the other party was not being hypocritical at all. It could be said that he spoke bluntly and quickly. He was still here thinking that it was just the first time that he and the other party met, and they were still relatively unfamiliar. As a result, the other party immediately pointed it out, this time. Jinbei was silenced for a long time, then he spoke. Lord Qingyun, to be honest, I have discussed it with King Neptune, and I really want to seek refuge with you, Lord Qingyun, and want to get your protection, Lord Qingyun. Jinbei also said it directly. Now that the other party has exposed it, he continues to hide it, and it seems to be of no use. To have my protection, do you know what that means? I killed a celestial dragon. All the celestial dragons on the Holy Land Mariajoya should hate me to the core. World government is even more so. Obtaining my asylum means that you will become a thorn in the eyes of the celestial dragons and the world government, and the price is likely to plunge Fishman Island directly into chaos. Aren't you worried about this happening? Qingyun also directly made the consequences clear. As long as he is alive and has some power of his own, this is also a very normal thing. Of course he will not deliberately refuse. After all, with his own power, in doing some things, it will become much easier. He said a word, even without having to do anything. His subordinates will run for him and solve the matter as quickly as possible. Isn't this uncomfortable? Therefore, he is happy to have 1 or 2 at his disposal. A force that can be manipulated. Yes. Lord Qingyun, King Neptune and I have already discussed it. Even if it offends the world government and the celestial dragons, I only hope to gain your protection, Lord Qingyun. Fishman Island is willing to become your sword, Lord Qingyun. Jinbei said to Qingyun very seriously, this was not his private decision, it was a decision made after discussing with King Neptune for a day and a night, it was just that it was in the plan, the first time he met Qingyun, it should be to build a relationship with the other party. To read Baoshuang novels, go to Faloo Novel Network. In the later stages of the plan, after getting close enough to the other party, you can join the other party and get the other party's protection, but Qingyun's direct words undoubtedly disrupted the plan he and Neptune had discussed, but the words were all meant for this purpose, for Jinbei, this is undoubtedly a great opportunity. Then, he gritted his teeth and made the decision that should have been behind the plan. Aren't you worried that I have evil intentions? After all, hasn't your Neptune Poseidon already appeared? Aren't you worried that I covet the power of Neptune? Qingyun's words reached Jinbei's ears, making him feel as if he was struck by thunder, because only a few people know about such secret things. And the people who know it can be said to be a handful. They can be counted, and Jinbei is one of them. But how did Qingyun know? Old man me. Jinbei was so frightened by Qingyun's words that he stuttered, for a while, I don't know how to answer this question. Qingyun looked at the drastic change in the other party's expression and didn't care. After all, this news was like a big earthquake to Jinping and others, the reason why he said it deliberately, undoubtedly, he is stimulating the other party and letting him know that he actually knows the existence of Neptune. If they surrender to him, will he use Neptune's power? Certainly, this is still an unknown, but it's the unknown, that's why it's hard to make a decision. A long time, Jinbei finally calmed down a little, he looked at Qingyun drinking juice and looking at him calmly, and he made a decision in his heart. Lord Qingyun, please give Fishman Island a chance to serve you. This is a crisis. It is also an opportunity. Today, Princess Baixing is only 14 years old, still young, he also hopes that Whitebeard will live a long life, but this is obviously impossible, and Whitebeard has even more. There are many hidden injuries, and my body is getting worse day by day. Even if I can persist for 10 years at most, and the premise of this 10 years is that the past 10 years have been calm, but in this rough sea, calm waves are simply impossible to exist, especially in the New World. It is even more difficult for the 4 emperors who hold high positions. Once there is a huge wave crashing on the sea, the first person who needs to face this huge wave will people are big pirates like the Yonko. Therefore, based on various considerations, this is the reason why he made this decision, a young man with great potential, an old man who has already stood at the top, indeed. It was hard to choose, but Jinbei chose Qingyun. You made a wise decision. Qingyun also smiled, the other party made a choice, and of course he would not refuse the other party. From now on, Fishman Island will be my territory, Qingyun. When the time comes, I will ask Morgans to spread the news around the world in the form of newspapers, so it's not too late for you to regret it now. Qingyun said. Lord Qingyun, Fishman Island has made a decision, so naturally he will not take back what he said. Jinbei said seriously, of course he knew that Morgans, the king of news, if it was distributed through the other party's newspaper, it can be said that at least half of the people in the world would know that the force that protects Fishman Island has been the Whitebeard pirates have turned into Qingyun, a young god-killer. However, there is no doubt about one thing, Qingyun is definitely more famous than Whitebeard, but not as prestigious as Whitebeard because of his achievements. There are really too few, and the outstanding achievements are just the destruction of the Demon Slayer Order and the defeat of Admiral Kizaru of the Navy, but this is normal. After all, Whitebeard's reputation has taken decades. Time has passed, it has been less than a year since he came to this world, it is not as good as it is. It is normal, however, sooner or later, his reputation will surpass that of the Whitebeard pirates. There is no doubt about this. But like this changes will make some people think that Fishman Island has an opportunity at this time, which may plunge Fishman Island into chaos. Anyone who attacks Fishman Island will be hunted down by my team, and the 4 emperors are no exception. And your Sea King, let her grow up happily. I am not interested in the power of Sea King. Qingyun said to Jinbei. Hearing this, Jinbei felt relieved. In his opinion, a strong man like Qingyun at least kept his word, regardless of what the other party said about protecting the fishmen, the promise of the island, or if the other party is not interested in the power of the Sea King. This makes him feel relieved. The other party is indeed young. The change of the protective force on Fishman Island will indeed cause some evil people to attack Fishman Island. This is unavoidable, however. He thinks it is worth it. After all, they, Fishman Island, should be the first to join the forces of God-killer Qingyun. If Qingyun can withstand the pressure from the world government in the future, riding on the wind, their Fishman Island, isn't it also regarded as a chicken and a dog ascending to heaven? Thank you for your monthly support in the year of the monkey and the horse. Thank you very much.